You know what's strange? Some of the warmest people you'll ever meet are also some of the most broken. They're the ones who always show up for others, the ones who make everyone laugh, the ones who seem completely fine. But behind closed doors, when the noise stops and the world goes quiet, they fall apart. Not dramatically, not loudly, quietly, alone. And the most painful part? Nobody ever notices, because they've become so good at smiling that even the people closest to them have no idea how much they're carrying. If you've ever been that person, or if you know someone like that, stay with me, because what's happening beneath that smile is far more complex than most people realize. Psychologists call this emotional masking, the conscious or unconscious act of concealing one's true emotional state behind a socially acceptable expression. In simple terms, you feel one thing, but you show the world something completely different. And smiling is the most common mask humans wear, because a smile disarms people. It signals safety. It says, "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." And for someone who learned early in life that their pain was unwelcome, that smile becomes armor, not a choice, a survival strategy. Researchers at the University of California conducted studies on what they called surface acting, the effort people put into displaying emotions they don't actually feel. What they found was striking. Surface acting doesn't just cost emotional energy. It physically exhausts the body. People who consistently mask negative emotions showed higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone linked to anxiety, poor sleep, and weakened immune function. In other words, smiling through pain isn't harmless. It has a biological cost. Your body keeps the score, even when your face refuses to show it. Here's what's fascinating. This pattern almost never starts in adulthood. For most people who smile to hide their pain, the habit was formed in childhood. Think about it. A child who grew up in a home where emotions were dismissed, where crying was met with, "Stop being dramatic," where sadness made the adults uncomfortable, where showing weakness meant being ridiculed or ignored. That child learns a very important lesson very quickly. If I show how I really feel, something bad happens. So they adapt. They put on a smile. They become the cheerful one, the easy child, the one nobody has to worry about. And they carry that mask all the way into adulthood, long after the environment that created it no longer exists. There is a specific kind of person who is the funniest in every room, quick with a joke, always lightening the mood, always making others feel better. But humor for them isn't just personality, it's protection. If I make you laugh, you won't look too closely at me. If I keep things light, you won't ask questions I'm not ready to answer. Psychologists call this the class clown defense mechanism, and studies show it is significantly more common in people who experienced emotional neglect or unpredictable home environments growing up. The joke is the wall, the laughter is the distraction, and behind it, something very heavy is being carried in complete silence. These are the people everyone calls when things fall apart. The reliable one, the strong friend, the one who always knows what to say. But notice something. They are never the one making the call. They are never the one saying, "I'm not okay," because asking for help requires vulnerability. And vulnerability, for someone who learned that their emotions were a burden, feels genuinely dangerous. So they give and give and give until there is nothing left. And even then, they smile and say they're fine. This is perhaps the most painful part of emotional masking, the profound loneliness that comes from never being truly known. When you spend your entire life showing people a version of yourself that isn't real, you start to feel like nobody actually knows you. Because nobody does. They know the smile, they know the humor, they know the person who always shows up and never falls apart. But the real you, the tired, hurting, exhausted you, has never been introduced. And that loneliness is a very specific kind. It doesn't go away by being around more people, because the problem isn't the absence of people, it's the absence of real connection. The human body is remarkably honest. Even when the mind insists everything is fine, the body tells a different story. Chronic headaches, unexplained fatigue, digestive issues, tension in the shoulders and chest that never fully goes away. These are not random. Research in psychosomatic medicine consistently shows that suppressed emotion doesn't disappear. It relocates from the mind into the body. The pain that has nowhere to go outward turns inward and starts expressing itself physically. Your body has been trying to tell you something. Your smile has been refusing to say. At this point, you might be wondering, why don't they just open up? Why not simply tell someone how they feel? And the answer is both simple and heartbreaking. Because for most of their life, being vulnerable didn't feel safe. Every time they showed pain, it was dismissed. Every time they cried, they were told to stop. Every time they needed someone, nobody came. So the brain did what brains do. It adapted. It built a system designed to protect them from that pain of rejection. And that system, that beautiful, exhausting, lonely system, is the smile. Taking it off doesn't just require courage. It requires unlearning years of deeply wired survival behavior. And that is not a small thing. Here is what I want you to know. If this is you, you are not broken. You are not weak. You are someone who learned to survive in an environment that didn't make space for your pain. And you did what you had to do. But you don't have to keep doing it forever. Healing for someone like you doesn't look like suddenly falling apart. It looks like finding one safe person, one space, one moment, where you let the mask slip just a little and discover that the world doesn't end when you do, that you are not too much, that your pain is not a burden, that you, the real you, beneath the smile, are someone worth knowing.